and we're going to go ahead and get started with the power of prevention. And like I say, it was an incredibly fun Zoom class to put together. It kind of reminded me of a non-member class that I had actually given some years ago called the Snake Oil Salesman. And so I kind of, there's a few of those little innuendos about snake oil, and we're going to talk about some of that, but it was like I said, it was very, it was interesting. It was a learning experience for me. And that's one of the things that I try to do when I'm putting these Zoom classes together. I start with a PowerPoint, and I have a new PowerPoint and a new topic every week. My daughter asked me this morning, Mom, how do you come up with all these different topics? Well, I come up with these different topics usually by just talking to folks. And this particular topic, I actually, it came into my mind when I was talking to my daughter, Michelle. She came down from Minnesota to visit. She had just left on Wednesday, and we were sitting and talking, and we were kind of talking about, some of the crazy ingredients in some of the old time supplements, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But mostly what we want to talk about today is preventative type medicine, okay? And just showing the difference between when you go to a doctor and they prescribe you, oftentimes it's not in the idea of prevention, it's more so in the idea of that we're just going to, we're going to take care of the symptoms, we're going to take care of what we actually can see, forgetting about the whole body approach to things, okay? And that's one of the things that I really do enjoy about learning about, essential oils, because it got me very much into also learning about holistic type of approaches. And that would be the idea of prevention, okay? So we're talking about the whole body. Now, what are some of the things that we do to prevent, okay? We tie our shoelaces, okay? Now, what does tying your shoelaces have to do with prevention? Well, you're trying to prevent yourself from falling, right? If you walk around with, with shoelaces tied up, well, what's gonna happen? You might fall, you might hurt yourself, right? And so what do? We tie our shoes as a preventative measure so that we don't trip over our shoes, right? So just very important to understand the idea of prevention. We get a flu shot, or some people might get a flu shot. Well, what does a flu shot do? A flu shot is supposed to try to prevent getting sick. You go to the dentist, you get it yearly, or you're, like I usually go, twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, because I very, very much, just believe in, having healthy teeth. It's very, very important to me. So that's not something that I play around with, and so I go to the dentist regularly for preventative measures, right? Here's a picture of these 2 men that they've got their little social distance going on, right? They got their masks on, right? What is that? That's prevention, right? Some people believe in it, some people don't. We're not going to go into all that, but just the idea of what are they doing? They're trying to prevent something, right? In this case, maybe they're trying to prevent COVID or whatever, right? Some people use their smartphones, right? And they use their smartphones to do what? Now, I don't own a smartphone, or I'm sorry, I own a smartphone, but I don't own one of these smart watches. But I know a lot of people who do. And so what are they trying to do? What is the purpose of, recording your heart rate, recording your blood pressure, recording your sleeping and all of that kind of stuff that these, I don't like them for a couple different reasons. One is I'm not willing to pay my money for it, but 2 is I don't want people tracking me and my medical data and things like that, because this is actually medical data that can actually be part of a health record. I don't want, China or anybody else being able to track me or whatever. I just think that sometimes there's too much information out there. Now, I'm not saying that, not into all that conspiracy kind of, kind of stuff, but just the idea of, I don't want all of that information being out there. But my whole point in what I was just saying is prevention, right? Now, the key to prevent diabetes and the key to preventing other chronic diseases is what? We totally know what's the prevention measures, right? We totally understand what to do to be healthy, right? It all starts with what you put into your body. Okay, so the very first key to preventing diabetes, to preventing other chronic illness, is to do what? To design our communities to make it harder to become obese or sick. That is a big problem in today's society. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. The design of the medical, systems and things. So preventative medicine, so important that we look at, healthcare in that type of a way. Oftentimes people don't even think of healthcare until they're actually sick, right? But why would we take that approach? Healthcare is something that you practice so that you don't get sick, right? And that's exactly what this class is all about, okay? And what it's always been about is prevention, right? So we know that we've got, healthcare is that pyramid, right? And you've got your nutrition is going to be the basic foundation of good health, right? Nutrition. You've got your sleep, you've got your exercise, you've got your healthcare, and you've got prevention, right? Prevention being so important, and it's not something that's really it's really given enough attention in today's healthcare system. And so this is often what people think about when they think of preventive medicine. They think of medication, they think of drugs. Oh, that's going to prevent me from getting this or doing that, or if I got a heart condition and if I take carvedilol, it's going to prevent me from having a heart attack or whatever. Well, I'm going to say that carvedilol is important. Yes, I'm not going to take away from those times where you absolutely need to be on medication, but I'm going to say is that prevention actually goes way deeper than that. Okay, because food is actually medicine. Food is medicine, okay? And that's what we need to be thinking. We need to be treating our diet as that preventative medicine, okay? But a lot of times what people do is, maybe they're told, here's a perfect example, seeing the syringe here, is you go to the doctor and they say, hey, you can either 1, lose weight, or 2, you can start taking insulin shots because you are pre-diabetic, right? And usually what that doctor will tell you is you need to change your diet and lose weight, right? Now, a lot of people, what happens is they would rather just take the shot than to take those preventative measures to being healthy. Now, maybe it's easier up front to just take the shot, right? Because I can keep stuff in my mouth, whatever I want, donuts, candy, soda, whatever I might want, right? You can keep on stuffing that into your mouth. And that's easy up front. But later on, what happens is now you've got kidney issues. Now it turns to high blood pressure. Now it turns to cardiovascular disease. Now it turns to heart issues. There is a direct link to kidney failure and heart issues, right? And so there's so much behind the scenes that people just don't understand, right? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We want to talk about the actual breakdown of the modern medical system as we know it, okay? So here, first day of med school, and what are they taught by their doctor? Preventative medicine kills return business, right? Preventative medicine doesn't kill. What preventative medicine kills is their return business. Now that's a really good thought, really good concept. Is that if you upfront, if you prevent being sick, then what happens? you don't go to the doctor as often, right? So what happens to the poor doctors? Because the doctors are making money off of people getting sick. Now, I have no issues with doctors at all. I wanted to be a doctor back in the day. Before I got married, became a Christian, and had 10 kids. I wanted to be a doctor. Well, I gave all of that up for, for a life that was much more fulfilling and much better, and much, I didn't make any money, but it was a much better, very much more fulfilling life. But the idea of physicians, they are making money because people are getting sick. If people weren't sick, they wouldn't be getting as much money. Or if people were trying to prevent themselves from getting sick, they're going to have to go into another practice, right? Such as homeopathy, right? Or naturopathy. These are the studies and the sciences that I am so interested in, right? But we're going to talk a little bit about some of the natural medicines of yesteryear. Okay, so America's healthcare system is in crisis. Why? Because we systematically neglect wellness and prevention. Wellness and prevention is key to our healthcare system and to this country, right? In even preserving itself, right? Because oftentimes, and not just this country, the whole world, oftentimes what we're finding is that there's a crisis, not in healthcare, but the crisis is in people being educated on how to keep themselves healthy. Why? Because there's not enough money in doing that, right? So the doctors they're going to lose their livelihoods, right? They're going to have to sell their BMWs and their big houses, because they're no longer making money off of people who are sick, right? And these are things that should be taught, from the parents, from within the households. We teach our kids, just by the foods that we make and all of that. We teach them how to eat healthy, right? If we're putting in front of them chicken nuggets and French fries every night, what are you teaching them? You're teaching them that that's what food is, right? You're teaching them to get used to having GI issues, because what happens after you eat chicken nuggets and French fries? Your stomach usually hurts, doesn't it? And so we're teaching our children how not to eat healthy. Or if you put in front of them, their fresh vegetables, and whether it's salad or steamed broccoli or whatever it might be, the chicken and the brown rice or the mashed potato, whatever it might be, good real food. I'm not talking about mashed potatoes out of a box. I don't even know how to make mashed potatoes out of a box. My mom taught me, you peel the potatoes. Actually, I just like scrubbing my potatoes. I don't even peel them. You cut them up, you boil them, put in the things that you want, or you put them in the skillet, whatever you do with your potatoes, but you use real ingredients, right? Stuff that you can look and see, yes, this is the potato. This is a tomato, right? And so maintaining good health should be the primary focus of everyone, okay? We're teaching it to our children. The doctors should also be teaching it. This should be something that's just like all around, right? Because what are we giving to our next generation, right? What are we giving them? Are we giving them the tools to promote good health? Or are we teaching them how to be unhealthy and addicted to the doctors, right? So an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, okay? Going back to the diabetic scenario that I just stated, right? If you can prevent yourself from getting diabetes, isn't that better than committing yourself to a life of insulin? Isn't that better than having maybe an insulin pump attached to you? Now, I'm not saying, I don't know if anybody that I'm talking to has diabetes, and I'm certainly not, trying to, downgrade anybody. What I'm doing is I'm coming from the point though of prevention. And I think everybody can kind of understand. I'm certainly not saying if there are people with diabetes, but we all understand that there are ways that we can prevent certain issues in our life, whether it's high blood pressure, whether it's diabetes, whether it's GI issues. A lot of those things can be traced back as to what we are putting in and on our bodies. So what we want to talk about today is what, like I say, as I was sitting down with Michelle at my dining room table this week, and I even forget what we were talking about, but it all of a sudden just, when it got into my head about preventative medicine, because it's always been something that I've been very, very interested in, is what we could do to prevent ourselves from being sick. Let's not wait until we are sick. Let's prevent ourselves from getting sick. And that's what this class is all about. So a few little statistics, 90%, and like I say, I'm, kind of going under the mindset of diabetes, because that's just kind of where my mind was going in the beginning of this Zoom, is that 90% of type 2, not type 1, because type 1 you're born with, but type 2, 90% is due to obesity. So what that tells me is that in many cases, I'm not saying all, but in many cases, diabetes can be prevented. So not only though is obesity causing diabetes, it's also the culprit for arthritis. It's the culprit of a lot of the back pain. It's the culprit for cancers. It's the culprit for infertility or stroke and heart disease, which that's not, too hard to understand, right? Because fat has vascular structures connected to it. What do I mean by that? In other words, fat has to be supplied oxygen, and the way that it's supplied oxygen is by our vascular system. The more vascular system, or I should say, the more artery. Let's just say it plain. The more arteries, capillaries, arterioles, the more of those structures are in our body, the harder the heart has to pump. So the less fat we have, the less arteries we're gonna have to service, the less capillaries we're gonna have to service, the less arterioles we're gonna have to service, right? All because we have less fat in our body. So it makes a lot of sense then to just try to reduce the body fat. That is an absolute must, right, for all of us. I know I just, went on a diet, lost a nice amount of weight, and I feel a whole lot. I mean, the scale, tells me, that I'm feeling better. But I would rather go into old age. I should say older age, because I already kind of feel like I'm old, but I guess older age, with less of body fat, right? Because I, totally understand and totally know that, that's going to prevent a lot of issues later on in life. Diabetes only being one of them. So I did this little BMI, this little calculation, and I was so thankful that it told me that I was in the healthy range. That kind of like made my day when it said that my BMI was totally in the normal range. And that's what each and every one of us, we want to be in that normal and healthy range. And there are plenty of things that we can do, to get rid of a lot of that, unwanted, body fat. There's little changes in our diet, little things that we can do. I know Sharon, as well as Juanita, I don't think Juanita's on the call yet, but they, a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, they talked about an essential oil that literally helps to mobilize your metabolism, right? To get your metabolism going faster. And what does that do? A healthy metabolism, it burns calories faster. So it's not the matter of starving yourself, because starving yourself is going to lower your metabolism, okay? Because now your body is saying, whoa, guys, we're in starvation mode, right? And so it slows down the metabolism as a survival mechanism. So starvation and not eating, that is not healthy. It's what you're eating It's what you're eating that's important, right? So very, very, very important. Now, preventative care is your healthcare practice. That's your own healthcare practice, is prevention. And it's one that you participate in every single day of your life, okay? That's yours. That's not my doctor's, that's mine. I own it. I can practice this, and I don't need to have a license and insurance to practice it. Now, we're going to kind of take a walk back. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about folk medicine. Okay, what is folk medicine? It's a treatment of an ailment at home by remedies and simple measures based upon experience and knowledge handed over by generation, by word of mouth. Now, folk medicine is not always bad, but we're going to talk about some things that were kind of just a little out there. Okay, so the cures of yesteryear. All right, what were some of those, those funky type of cures and practices that we see in the years past? Okay, now in the 1800s, okay, is there anybody on this Zoom that was alive back in the 1800s? I don't think so, but that really wasn't a long time ago. But in the 1800s, there were not many options for medical treatment. It depended on where you lived, right? If you lived on a farm, that's where that whole term of a midwife, right, is somebody who came and they would literally go from farm to farm, delivering babies, and that's the babies were usually born right there in the home. But then there were also the medicine men, all right, such as this guy here, the miracle elixir. Look at his little things that he's got in his little buggy there, right? So he's a Professor Thaddeus, right? And he's the medicine man back in that time. Okay. Now, what was it that they would sell? Okay. They would sell these homeopathic remedies. Now, homeopathic medicine is actually very good, but I'm just going to get a little bit of humor as to some of the things that they used to do. If you look at all of their little remedies here and the prices on, it doesn't tell you exactly what they're giving you. It just tells you what they're charging for whatever that remedy would be, whether it works or whether it doesn't, such as this. If you came to one of these men and you had a toothache, they would give you cocaine. Now, we understand that cocaine is not something you want to be putting into your body, right? It causes all kinds of things, not to mention the fact that people, can get addicted to it. Anybody's heard of Coca-Cola, understands that back in the day, that was one of the ingredients in Coca-Cola. It was a medicine. I just found it very funny, in putting this together. Here's the snake oil ointment, right? It relieves headache, neuralgia, which is just nerve pain, toothache, headache, backache, swelling, sprain, sore chest, swelling of the throat, contracted cords. What on earth is that? I don't know. Stiff joints, wrenches, don't know what that is, dislocation, cuts and bruises. It says the snake oil liniment cures all aches and pains. Isn't that interesting? If you are afflicted with deafness, get our specially prepared pure rattlesnake oil. Very, very funny and interesting. Here's some just some funny things. The eye of newt, the toe of frog. Anybody ever tried any of these things? Toadstool clippings, vampire blood, bat wings, love potions, snake oil. Here's a real funny one. Cannabis, indica, and heroin. These were the medicines of yesteryear. Now, we totally understand that a lot of these things are just bogus, right? They're not, I mean, spider's legs, tongue of dog, right? Moth wings, okay? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to boil them and drink the water? Are we going to eat them? What are we going to do with all of this, right? So this was medicine of yesteryear. This was the medicine chest of yesteryear. Now, I like this. Please don't eat me. I found this cute little frog and had to put the little text above it. Please don't eat me, says the frog. Now, The problem with some of these particular, now if you look, I just go back, and if you look at some of these, what does all of this look like? It looks like a lot of earthy type of materials, whether it's bark, whether it's roots, whether it's grasses, whether it's leaves, whatever it might be. We do know that there actually is a lot of truth to some of what you're seeing in front of you, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit about this coming up right now. Now, the idea that the physician, if you have a good physician does what? Treats your disease, right? You have diabetes, you have high blood pressure, you have heart issues, whatever. The good physician treats that disease. The great physician treats the person who has the disease. In other words, they're taking a holistic approach, okay? Yes, you might have high blood pressure, but you also have kidney issues. We know anybody who's been trained in any kind of medical training at all understands the link between blood pressure and kidney problems, right? Very, very close. So a lot of times, you might see somebody and, yes, indeed, they've got, hang on one second, somebody's trying to come into the, okay, like I say, you've got a patient and they've got high blood pressure. Well, the very first thing that I would want to see is I would want to take some, a metabolic panel. I would want to see what these, what the fluids are going on. I would like to see the electrolytes, and I would want to see whatever imbalances metabolically they might have, right? A lot of times that's not done. And that's where the difference between good medicine and great medicine come into play, okay? The difference between a good doctor and a great doctor, okay? So that idea of holistic medicine, very, very important. So what is holistic medicine? I know this is kind of a boring slide, but I highlighted just what I wanted to tell you about, okay? So what is holistic medicine? Now, an example, okay? A holistic example would be somebody who blends modern medicine with lifestyle changes and complementary medicine to facilitate. So you're bringing all of medicine together, okay? Now, let's just say somebody comes in, they've got sinus infections. The conventional way is to just keep pumping them with antibiotics. They have a sinus infection today, give them antibiotics. They come back a couple months later, give them more antibiotics. They come back another year later, give them more antibiotics. But if you want to practice holistic medicine, you would be worried that that antibiotic that you're prescribing is killing good intestinal bacteria. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to talk to them. You want to let them know what they need to do to protect the intestinal bacterial flora, while they might have to take this antibiotic for an infection. I've got no problem if I've got an infection to take an antibiotic. I have no problem with doing that. Okay, I try to prevent that infection from happening. But if I have one, yeah, you're right. I'm going to take antibiotics, right? But the probiotics are so important. Like this morning, I take a pre and a pro. Okay, Doterra actually sells. It's called PB Assist. And it's a prebiotic inside of a probiotic. Okay, it's a very, very exceptionally superior product. But anyway, so a holistic approach is that the doctor says, hey, look, you continue to get these infections. You have a problem with your immune system. We need to take care of this at the root cause. In other words, let's look at your whole body. Okay, that's the difference between a good and a great doctor. I'm not just going to treat your symptom. I'm not just going to treat your problem. I am going to treat all of you as a whole body. That's holistic medicine. Okay. He's going to talk to him about, okay, let's see. There could be issues in your pillows. Let's replace these pillows. Let's take care of this. Not just pumping you with antibiotics that might take care of that infection, but we're not taking care of the cause. that you keep on getting infected, because you're going to keep on getting infected if you're not looking for that root cause of the problem. That is holistic medicine. Now, whenever the immune system successfully deals with infection, this is the problem with the overuse of antibiotics. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that I'm against antibiotics, but I am against the overuse of antibiotics. Why? Because your immune system actually gets stronger and better when it deals with the problem, rather than antibiotics coming in and saying, hold off, immune system, I've got this problem, right? And so your immune system is like, oh, okay, you know, I don't have to work. So what happens is it gets weaker, okay? So our immune system develops in combat. It's very, very important. So as it fights these environmental threats, viruses, bacteria, fungus, yeast, all of these things, as it fights, it gets stronger, okay? That's not a very hard concept to understand, right? What you use gets stronger, right? If you're lifting weights, what's going to happen? That muscle gonna get stronger, right? And so it's, you know, it's very, very, very important. So if at the first sign of infection, you always jump in with antibiotics, you do not give your immune system the chance to grow stronger. And a lot could be said about the immune system. I have lots of Zoom classes that I went into the immune system. It's probably my favorite topic to go into because I really believe that the immune system is like crucial for our survival, right? It's crucial. So to fight disease after it has occurred is like trying to dig a well when one is thirsty, or forging a weapon once a war has begun, okay? Now, the importance of having a strong immune system is incredibly important, okay? Because it's going to ward off infection, whether it's a viral infection, a bacterial infection. It's going to ward it off before it happens, rather than trying to fight something that's already invaded, right? So it's kind of like that old, you know, the term about, you know, the wall around the city, right? That wall around the city is a defense. It's a preventative measure. Once the enemy actually infiltrates that wall, now your job is a lot harder. It's easier to keep your enemy outside of the gate, outside of the wall, than it is to fight the enemy once that enemy has come in. That's your immune system in a nutshell. So now, in contrast and comparison to the medical remedies of yesteryear, these are medical remedies of today, okay? These are for those that are very interested in prevention, okay? Things like echinacea and garlic and myrrh, oregano, cumin, eucalyptus. Okay, these are some of the remedies that we have at our fingertips. Okay, ginger, garlic, fennel, sage, clove, which, by the way, clove is the highest antioxidant known to man. Okay, clove of Madagascar, clove bud of Madagascar. Okay, I've got it. I take it daily. It's a very, very important part of my regimen. Now, do I take my bottle of clove and just put it in my mouth? No, I actually, I cheat. I have it in my Lifelong Vitality, which I'm just so glad. We'll talk about Lifelong Vitality a little bit later. But Mother Earth's, and actually I talked about Lifelong Vitality in depth last week. So if you go to the YouTube and just type in my name, you'll see last week's class was all about Lifelong Vitality. Now, Mother Earth, you know, I never really liked that term Mother Earth, because I really, you know, I would just say God's earth. It's a medicine chest that's filled with healing herbs of incomparable worth. Okay, so all we have to do is become knowledgeable in some of these natural remedies that God has provided for prevention at the beginning of time. Okay, so a doctor who treats the disease after it's happened he's only a mediocre doctor. But a doctor who treats a disease before it happens, that's a superior doctor. I can be the doctor of my own life. I can be the doctor of my own body. I want to take care of things that might be coming on the horizon before they get there. Okay. I want to predict. I want to prevent. Okay. And that's what I'm all about. Now, I thought this was very interesting when I saw this online, because you very seldom see this. Preventative medicine. I mean, it's actually really interesting. I mean, this would be someplace where I would want to go, right? I would give these guys my money, right? Because I know exactly what's going to be on the inside of that office, right? They're going to talk about herbs. They're going to talk about things such as essential oils, right? So prevention is key, okay? And that's where I want to go the last few minutes here of this Zoom class. I want to talk about just some ways that we can prevent. This is, and I'm just very briefly going to go into this, but this is what I take as the baseline of prevention. And the reason why is because when you actually look at what's in these products, you are just blown away at just what they've got. Like this one in particular, grapeseed extract, quercetin. I'm having a hard time for some reason seeing this. Pomegranate fruit. I'm going down here. Indian ginkgo tree. And a lot of these I might not even be seeing, because for some reason I'm having a hard time seeing it. Kale. This has got parsley. This has got spinach. This has got broccoli. This has got cabbage. It's got Brussels sprouts. So this has got a lot of really good stuff in it. This is just one of the supplements. Plus this has the tummy tamer, which is ginger, peppermint, and then what else? Caraway. So these are actually essential oils that are known to be a tummy tamer, right? It's all in this. This is a whole food complex, okay? Alpha CRS. This is another great one that I take every single day. Boswellia, which is frankincense. Milk thistle. This has got green tea leaf, pomegranate fruit, pineapple stem, turmeric, which is very good for any type of inflammation, grape seed, sesame seed, pine bark. This has also got the tummy tamer of the peppermint, the ginger, and the caraway. And then this, perhaps one of my favorite, because this is very, very good for heart health. This gives you the omega-3, omega-6s, and your omega-9s. This has got some really good stuff in it, let me tell you. And I talked about this a lot last week. Why am I saying that again? I just said it just a few minutes ago. But anyway, I repeat myself often. This has also got the clove that I was telling you that I take every single day. I like it because it's in here. I just, pop these things and go. Clove bud, frankincense, thyme, which is very, very good for any type of viral. If you're fighting any kind of virus, thyme is very, very good for that. Cumin, wild orange peel, peppermint, ginger root, caraway seed, and German chamomile. It's got very, very superior ingredients. So this is the medicine cabinet of yesteryear. This is the medicine cabinet of today. So you want to have a medicine cabinet makeover? Natural solutions, safer, cheaper, and more effective than some of those traditional remedies, whether they were the remedies of the 1800s or the remedies of today. All right, so the benefits of essential oil. They relieve headaches, they relieve cough, cold, muscle soreness, body pain. They improve emotional well-being. For example, in stress management, in relaxation. They're very good for oral care. Myrrh especially, very good. Clove especially for oral care. They're widely used. And I use them on my face constantly. I don't wear makeup anymore. Well, I wear a little bit of something around my eyes because my eyes are getting old, because I'm getting old, and I don't want to look that old, but As far as all of that face stuff, I just, I just don't do it anymore. We can use them in so many things. I put them on the carpet. What I do is I mix up a little bit of baking soda and I put like a little bit of Purify, or you can put some lavender, mix it up in that, that baking soda, and then you just sprinkle it on your carpets, let it set for a few minutes and then vacuum, and you're going to be smelling some wonderful smells as you're vacuuming. So here are 5 essential oils and their health benefits. Lavender, one of the top essential oils. Look at what it can do for you. Relieves stress, treats depression, reduces inflammation. It's a natural nasal decongestant. It's very good for acne. It is so good for so many things. Eucalyptus can fight migraines, fevers, respiratory issues, bacterial infections. Chamomile is a soothing essential oil that has antibacterial properties. It reduces inflammation and also treats chronic pain. Bergamot, love bergamot. It's from Italy, which is why I love it. I'm Italian, so I love bergamot. It's used to treat stress, used to treat anxiety, depression, skin infections, very good for anything skin, and fatigue. Peppermint is a stimulant, sharpens your focus, enhances your mental alertness, and boosts your energy. Very good to take with you if you're taking a long drive, which I used to do. Don't do it nearly as much. I wanted to include this because I thought it was very interesting. Essential oil body map. The oils that are good for your head, the oils that are good for your throat, the oils that are good for your heart, your liver, your stomach, your lungs, and your mind. This would be a good one to take a snapshot of. I absolutely love learning how certain oils are good for certain body systems, but yet all of the oils often work synergistically. In other words, they work together, and as well as our body systems actually work synergistically. So you could understand that happening. I wanted to end with highlighting 2 oils. The first one I want to highlight is Copaiba. Copaiba is an unbelievably wonderful oil. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of contrast Copaiba with a very, very popular oil, not an essential oil, but it is an oil nonetheless, and it's called CBD. Now, CBD, is a botanical. It's not an essential oil, okay? Whereas Copaiba is an essential oil. So what does that mean? Well, let's keep going. CBD is an isolated molecule, whereas Copaiba has a complete plant chemistry. CBD provides indirect activity to CB receptors, whereas Copaiba provides direct activity to CB receptors. CBD has to go through a process of activity before it may or may not stimulate the receptors, whereas with Copaiba, it is not dependent upon other activities happening within the body. And due to the direct response, activity happens quickly, okay? CBD has federal regulatory challenges, right? It's, is it legal? Is it not legal? Copaiba, you don't have any of that problem. The purity of CBD, that's in question, but the purity of Copaiba from Doterra is 100%, okay? The potency, CBD typically has minimal amounts of CBD levels, okay? Why? Well, usually you could tell, when you're actually using the CBD oil, if you're one that I don't think I've ever, somebody might have given me a drop and I just tasted it or whatever. But Copaiba, oh, that's something that I can take and I'm not feeling like, oh, am I doing something wrong? Should I be putting this? Is it altering my mind or whatever? Because Copaiba does not do that, okay? CBD, the price is much higher than that of Copaiba, okay? So Copaiba is fairly inexpensive, okay? It's about $35 wholesale. And here is the doTERRA graphic for Copaiba. It can be taken in aromatically, topically, or internally, okay? So it can be diffused and breathed in. It could be put on your skin, which is very good for skin, as a matter of fact, and then you can actually ingest it, okay? And it is very, very good for the body. It's an oil that comes from the Copaiba tree that's in Brazil. And my daughter-in-law is from Brazil, and she tells me that that when babies are born, that they actually take this oil and they rub the baby down from head to toe with this Copaiba oil. Very interesting. Anyway, another little Doterra graphic that I thought was, very interesting. Much less expensive, 100% drug-free, not from the cannabis plant. So you don't have to worry about, taking a drug test and it affecting the drug test. It does more testing, Doterra, I should say, does more testing than any other company in the world. So it's free of pesticides, heavy metals, contaminants. In other words, it is, not only is it organic, but it goes even further than organic. The next oil, and the last that I wanted to highlight, is lemongrass. Lemongrass is, not only is it an extremely cheap oil, I think this bottle here is like, I want to say it's like 11 bucks. I think I actually might have that on another slide, but it is so versatile. It's got to be one of the most versatile oils ever. Now, here are some of the uses of lemongrass. Kills cancer cells. Isn't that wonderful? What a wonderful preventative measure to kill cancer cells. For your blood pressure, if your blood pressure is high, it will bring it down. If your blood pressure is low, it will bring it up. What does it do? It regulates blood pressure, whether it's high or whether it's low. Let's regulate it. That's what lemongrass does. It helps to bring fevers down. Matter of fact, it was called the fever oil. Good for flu, good for cold, for digestion, for stress. I actually have it diffusing behind me. Good for losing weight, good for gout. It's an antioxidant. It's a detoxifier. It's a painkiller. Very good, excuse me, if you have like rheumatoid arthritis, or even if you just have joint pain or osteoarthritis. You put it on, you layer it with the deep blue, and boy, it works wonders. I've heard great things about it. I don't have arthritis problems. Excuse me. I don't have arthritis problems, so I don't really have that, that issue. But if you do, might be something you want to try, and especially if you layer it with the deep blue. So it's a painkiller, good for diarrhea, for stomach ache, antibacterial, it's antifungal, very good for liver, kidney, pancreas, digestive tract, and bladder issues. In other words, there were folks that I knew that had recurring UTIs. You take lemongrass, you put a drop in your water every time you drink water. Of course, we know we should be drinking a lot of water if we have frequent UTIs, and it literally can help to cure urinary tract infections. Prevention, though, is key. Prevent yourself from getting them rather than trying to fight it once you have it. All right, carpal tunnel syndrome, cholesterol, cramps, Charlie horses, cystitis, bladder infection, gastritis, hernia, improved vision, lactose intolerance, mental fatigue, sprains, tissue repair, urinary tract infection, and varicose veins. 1 bottle of oil, 250 drops. Now, I'll tell you what, this is the cheapest medicine you're ever going to find. Nature's super glue for the human body, lemongrass. Now, this particular slide decided that this is the right way to honor lemongrass essential oil because it's quick and fast in fixing and repairing torn tendons, ligaments, cartilages, tenosynovitis, inflamed tissues, and certain other connective tissue injuries. That's why when I turned to lemongrass in this book here, which I thought was very interesting and I guess, worthy to highlight, that you see when you're looking at lemongrass, what is that picture of? It's of a man playing soccer. So why would lemongrass be of use to a soccer player? Because they oftentimes get these these injuries, torn tendons, torn ligaments, tenosynovitis, inflamed tissues, right? Connective tissue injuries. I thought it was very interesting. And to look at that, you know, in this book, I always, every time I turned to lemongrass, I was always in awe at the amount of health benefits one single bottle of oil can do. Now, I had to include this one because I loved what it said. The general uses and benefits of lemongrass oil. It's the best choice to enhance skin glow. So not only is it good for your internal injuries, but it's good for your external skin. It washes away all the daily stress. I thought that was kind of interesting. This oil is also commonly used in medical therapy for treating digestive problems, cardiac issues, and headaches, increasing immunity, in smoothing out nervous system issues, boosting the immune system, fighting against infection, addressing irregularities in a menstrual cycle. This essential oil has a unique ability to lower down a fever that is commonly known as fever grass. Increases your focus, brightens your mood, relaxes sore, swollen, tired muscles, nagging headaches, helps them to go away, reduces fevers quickly without medication, and cleans the house from top to bottom. Isn't that amazing? That you can take it inside of your body and then go and clean your house with it. That's amazing. I just think that's absolutely amazing. The same thing that you use to clean your house, you can put in your body. You try that with your spick and span that's underneath your kitchen sink, right? Lavender Lane. I thought this was really just a beautiful, beautiful, not only name, but a diffuser blend. Lavender, peppermint, and lemongrass. Now, right now I have, it's called Mountain Air going behind me. And what I have in there is lavender, eucalyptus, and lemongrass. And it smells wonderful. Anytime I put lemongrass in my diffuser, I am not disappointed because it has got such a, it's just a striking striking aroma. If you've never smelled lemongrass, you have got to smell it. You have got to smell lemongrass. It's a beautiful, beautiful smell. And it's hard not to be happy when you're smelling lemongrass. But anyway, here are some of the favorite doTERRA products, lavender, and look at some of the over-the-counter type medications that these single bottles can replace. So lavender, you can replace Neosporin, Motrin, Aleve, Tylenol, Pepto-Bismol. Eardrops, Deep Blue, you can replace Bengay, Aleve, Tylenol. Digestsen, you can replace Pepto-Bismol or Tums. Lemon, you can replace Tylenol. Children's Motrin, children's Tylenol, Pepto-Bismol. Peppermint, look at what you can replace with these essential oils in your medicine cabinet, okay? I mean, the list goes on. Just keep on following this around. It's incredible. It's incredible. Take a snapshot if you would like, but I just absolutely love the fact that I have choices. I'm not forced to take Tylenol. I'm not forced to put toxic products on or in my body. And I've got choices. Okay. Now, there's this right here is one of the kits that can be purchased. This actually gives you free membership. Everything that you would ever buy from doTERRA is at a wholesale, not a retail price. These are 5 ml bottles. It gives you a diffuser. These are the 10 top essential oils. Then there's this one. It gives you a bigger diffuser and bigger bottles. Once again, is top oils. But this, they replaced 3 of them with Adaptive, with Copaiba, and with Balance. So a lot of people, like this one because of the Copaiba and the Adaptive, which is very, very good for any kind of neurological issues. If, maybe, you've got a child that maybe suffers from autism, this particular one, this particular kit, I should say, is going to, be a very effective kit. And then, oh, also too, purchasing this kit is actually, this actually gives you some free products. And we're going to talk about this in the end. Purchasing this kit actually gives you 50 points that you can use to purchase whatever you want in doTERRA. So it's kind of like $50, 50 points. All right, so this one will not only give you the 50 points, but it's also going to give you some free products. And I'm going to show you that in just a minute. This right here is wonderful. Love it. I just made, the other day, I made the chocolate. It's this one right here that I've got my cursor on. It's chocolate protein. And I put some chocolate chips and I put some peanut butter. And oh my goodness, it tasted like a Reese peanut butter. And I used it as a meal replacement because it gives you so much protein. It literally makes you feel full. And, you know, I can pretty much, you know, I don't really get hungry very often. So sometimes I eat because I have to. And so something like this is perfect for me because I don't have to really fuss over my food. You know, I could take it, the greens. I oftentimes put the greens in a little bit of tomato juice and mix it around and just chug it down the hatch. It gives you a number of vegetable servings. So it makes you feel good. You can kind of, you know, get a head start on your, you know, the amount of vegetables. A lot of times we don't eat, you know, enough vegetables. These are ways to help out. The fiber, I put the fiber, it has like a lemony taste to it. I put the fiber in oatmeal. And it's just awesome. These products are awesome, but it's a whole new nutrition line. Now, these are the products that I was telling you. When you make a 200 PV order, they give you all of this for free, plus 50 PV points to buy $50 of whatever you want. So that's part of the Dollar Days special that doTERRA is doing right now. I think I am at the end of my PowerPoint. So let me go ahead and stop sharing and open up to all of these wonderful faces. We've got 19 people in front of me. And those of you who I didn't greet before, welcome. I'm going to turn the recording off.